So, yeah, we're doing a quick E3 roundup podcast. We've done one of these sort of before, but it just timed it right with E3. This time, however, we timed the podcast in E3 wrong. E3
and also you want to get back to Civilization.
There's that too. But blame E3. They should have timed it to fit our podcast, not the other way around.
I wrote them an email and everything, but they ignored me.
I sent them a brick with "fuck you" written on it.
By send them, do you mean chuck at their window?
Yeah. From driving past in a car. Speeding car, brick, window, smash. Fuck you!
Isn't there a Simpsons episode where someone drives up in a limo and then throws a shoe at the Simpsons door and laughs evilly and then drives off?
I think so. Or is it family? I don't know.
It might have been a brick, but either way, he hits the door, not a window. I just think it's funny. He laughs evilly. That's his retaliation against whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is our E3 2013 special in which we belittle multi-million-dollar companies for ruining things.
Well, this is the thing. Like, we've talked before about how E3 isn't really the big thing that it used to be because everything comes out before E3. And they tell you all the things that are going to be at E3 in the couple of days beforehand. There's no point in actually even watching. I mean, I suppose from our perspective, yeah, that's fair enough. But if you were actually attending and getting to play with some of these things, it's probably a little bit more important.
Ubisoft leaked their own trailer just before their own conference started on purpose.
I guess trying to generate hype for things that...
But it was literally on the day before their conference started. It wasn't like it was a week before. They're stupid.
Well, I don't see too much of the point of it in general, other than if you were to actually attend and get to play these things. If you were to actually play some of the new stuff in advance, that might be kind of cool.
Most of the things you do at E3 is waiting over an hour in line to get 10 minutes with any given thing. It's the same as
it's the same as life, It's like you spend all day waiting in line, waiting to have sex with a girl, and it lasts like 10 minutes, and then you spend more time waiting to... I'll move on.
Do not inform people how to solicit prostitution. Prostitutes do not have queues.
It also involves driving past in a car and a brick. And they do sometimes have queues, the good ones. I mean, what prostitutes?
Stop talking about
E3.
I was just about to say...
It's a common connection. You're talking about E3 and prostitutes. It's more or less the same thing.
They're not being paid, but they are.
They're both soliciting things.
Yeah.
Hurting themselves out.
In Microsoft's case.
Yes.
But before we do jump into the E3 stuff, to give people time to, not play, let me just quickly check my Steam friends list to see what Noodles is playing instead of listening to us this week.
Oh.
CR is playing Blood Bowl. Naughty CR.
Okay. So we're now gonna have a section where we basically blacklist. We name drop all the people that haven't turned up.
Stephen just started playing Dota,
and what they're doing instead of. And they could be listening and playing at the same time.
Well, they could be, but CR and Noodles are not. Noodles is playing Lego Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm genuinely insulted that is the better thing to be doing right now.
Oh dear me. So
what have you been playing?
No different from the podcast recorded last
Friday. Well, in that case,
okay. Technically, we played a little bit of Halo 4, just because I don't even know why. We were just listing off random things that we could play instead of.
It's because I didn't want to play Civ because I was a bit sick of it.
You can't be sick of Civ.
Well, okay, I jonesed too hard and required something else.
You were twitching a little too much. Yeah, we've played some Civ, we've played some Halo 4. I can't think of anything else. There must be something else. We tried Dota 2. I didn't like it.
Oh yeah, and listening to Stephen trying to explain how to play that game was like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in that. We could have a brief go, but I just can't see how you could have any length of time with it.
He wasn't doing a good job of telling us how to play. He was telling us what we should be doing rather than how we do things and letting us discover for ourselves.
There's that, yeah.
We should try playing Smite. That's another MOBA that's free to play, I think.
Oh yeah, so for this edition of the podcast, live podcast on Twitch TV, I can't see the chat.
Oh, yeah, all right. I have
can't
to
see
convey.
anything that's going on in the chat, so it all has to come relayed through Flick, which is kind of good in a way because it means that we'll remember to tell other people what's being said in the chat.
I can also censor and twist the truth.
You could tell me that everybody's saying that I'm, a closet Nazi or not a closet Nazi.
No, not a closet one.
I'm actually quite enjoying sitting where I'm sitting. I'm at the bottom of the stairs. My headset reaches all the way around into like the hallway, and I'm just sort of sitting on the stairs.
Sitting like a tramp.
Slightly better acoustics here as well. There's less echo, I find.
Stephen says he isn't surprised we didn't like Dota 2 because we're too awesome for it.
We're too awesome for Dota 2. That sounds about right. That sounds the sort of thing he'd say. We're too awesome for Dota 2.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been playing more Binding of Isaac. Have you been playing any more indie games?
I've been playing more Binding of Isaac because I'm one item away from getting Platinum God, which 2.5% of the people who've ever bought Isaac have, and I want to be one of those few.
Oh.
For no good reason.
Just because of EPing?
No, just because of the personal challenge. I've gotten close, so I thought, why not? Go all the way.
EPing.
I just need Forget Me Now, and then I will get my Platinum God achievement. I don't have the ones... What?
Do they send you a t-shirt? They should send you a t-shirt.
No. I think that would be nice, because you do have to put in a lot of hours. Now, in fact, I still have Steam open, so I can check how many hours I've been playing Isaac.
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
I've played the Gaia games. It's never going to be as high as that. It's only 110 hours.
That's not too bad. I've played more.
No,
Skyrim.
the Gaia games get an average of 400 hours out of me, so that's nothing.
Now...
And I haven't been playing any other new indie games, because I talked about them all last time at length. I still haven't had time to try Hotline Miami or any of the other ones I got in the Humble Bundle yet.
So the only one thing that you've got left to cover then, really?
Yes, because I got The Last of Us on Thursday, a day early, because pre-orders work that way sometimes.
Because you tickled somebody's scrotum.
It was one of those games that obviously I got addicted to because I played it all that Thursday and then finished it on Friday morning.
Yeah, I think you sent me all of like 2 messages on Skype on Thursday. I think one of them was playing a game on PS3, and I think that was it for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, because I didn't want bothered with Civilization.
But serve!
So I'm not going to spoil anything about it, so don't worry about that. Just the general premise is a zombie apocalypse of sorts. I would say it combines Uncharted with The Walking Dead, but not quite as bleak as The Walking Dead is in general.
It sounds good. So you can bring this around tomorrow then when you're around and lend me it.
No, you can buy your own copy of it and support Naughty Dog, who make considerably good games. It does have tactile multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like Tomb Raider. And Tomb Raider, I went into it for about 5 minutes and thought, this isn't necessary, why did we do this? And went back out.
I would argue the same for Uncharted as well. The multiplayer is a bit...
I quite liked the horde mode of Uncharted 2. I don't think that was in 3. I did videos of the 1 and 2, and I had fun with that one. Apart from the enemies that chokehold you.
That's bloody not annoying. I don't classify horde mode as multiplayer, but anyway.
Well, I mean in terms of cooperative modes.
Oh, right.
And also Uncharted 2 had a proper co-op mode. It had little set-up storylines where you went through certain sections in teams of 3. With the story outside of the main story.
I'm sure I played Uncharted 2.
No, you played 3.
Yeah, no,
I told
know
you
3
is the better game.
I can't remember. I'm sure I played 2 as well.
Well, what I can lend you is I don't mind lending you Uncharted 2. I do still have it. I must do. I wouldn't have sold it because I enjoyed it.
We'll find out.
No, actually, I did sell it.
You sell everything.
I don't sell everything. I used to keep games I like, but I must have been desperate for money.
That kidney that you didn't want, you sold that. Your mother,
you really
she sold.
Well, you really needed her.
That bag of your hair shaved from your back. You sold that.
My back is not hairy.
That's because you sold all the hair on it.
Exactly. Well, you needed the wig.
That's true. I did need the wig.
It was that
and the heels. And the heels. I needed the heels too.
All the heels. Is that heels as in HEEL or HEH? Blah, blah.
The ladies' shoe variety.
Oh, okay. So I distracted myself by saying H, and I hate people who say H instead of H.
Stop saying it then.
I can't. I can't stop. Anyway, so yes, The Last of Us. I think it was a bit predictable, and it plays up to a lot of stereotypes for end of the world zombie apocalypse stuff. I guessed the semi-twist ending quite early on, and I think it's maybe the first game that I wished had arbitrary moral choices in it because I disagree with the main character's choice of actions at the end of the game.
So you wish that they weren't such a dick or such a pussy or...
No, I just wish they gave you the choice because it would wouldn't be an arbitrary one. In fact, if they just put in one right at the end for the final decision that the guy you play as has to make.
Do you kill this man or do you let this man live? One of those sort of decisions.
Kind of, but more meaningful than that. And also...
have sex with this man or let this man go unmolested.
Sex isn't meaningful. Those prostitutes have been treating you wrong.
Depends how hard you have it. Let's move away from the prostitute.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk about the game some more, but you keep distracting me with hers. Again.
Yeah, yep, I'm just baiting you with them.
The game has a very good opening 20 minutes, which is set just prior to the outbreak happening. It's very well done, very cinematic, very dramatic as well. It's not afraid to show realistic gore.
Oh.
As in, there's not lots of blood, but there's enough blood that it's plausible.
Right, okay.
It's also not shy about doing things to the young girl who you protect. Don't giggle. I mean, like, that's one of the tropes I don't like. If there's an apocalypse, everyone becomes an arsehole. So people will, without any hesitation, headbutt a little girl and shoot her.
Yeah.
That happens the second the world goes to pot. That kind of stuff annoys me. But, so yeah, if you're uncomfortable with children being beaten up,
this is not the game for you.
Also, if you don't like children who swear a lot and are willing to kill people, it also wouldn't be for you. But it's part of the story progression that, a child born in this post-apocalyptic world would be willing to murder people.
Makes sense. Kind of Mad Max style.
Yeah, Mad Max. Yeah.
I shouldn't really bring up Mad Max in an E3 podcast when Mad Max... Yeah, never mind.
But there was a Mad Max game.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying we should just...
It's not worth bringing up because it was just a CG trailer and didn't give anything away other than
Mad Max.
He cares more about one shotgun shell than he does putting a bandit out of his misery. He could have just stamped on his head until he was dead.
Like Sam B.
Yeah.
Damn, that bitch was huge.
That bitch was huge. But I just wanted to recommend The Last of Us, despite its faults, despite its tacked on multiplayer. I think it's very good. Naughty Dog continue to make very good games. PS3 exclusive.
That's fine, I suppose, since that's yeah, okay. You got
also, my editor was telling me afterwards Nolan North actually voices a character in it, and I didn't catch it.
Oh.
After he said it, he said to me on Twitter, "Did you notice Nolan North voiced the character?" And I thought, shit, no, I didn't. And then I instantly realised who he was. So I kind of knew subconsciously.
Somewhere deep down in your soul, in every single game that you play, there's somebody being played by Nolan North.
Naughty Dog game, there is Nolan North.
It's just any game, just every game ever. Just
every game, any Star Wars movie, Star Trek rather.
If you just assume that his voice is being used somewhere, you're probably right.
Oh yeah, if anyone doesn't know, he is actually in Into Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know.
I know. I've seen it.
I know you know because you've seen it, but people might not have.
Oh.
Or might not even have realised. I don't even know if he has any speaking lines in it. Recognize him.
I can't remember. Let's move on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's move on to actual E3 stuff then.
So E3.
Shall we handle the two main conferences in the order in which they were shown?
Yeah, let's do that.
That makes it easier for me because I get to use the written notes I made when I was doing the coverage.
There's a good reason for that because I can't use any of that stuff. So I just have to sit here and kind of...
You didn't make any notes anyway, and don't lie.
I like lying.
You went a bit Robot Devil there. They're always touching me in places.
Yeah, they'll do that.
So the Microsoft conference, I was going to say show, but it wasn't really a show. Opened with Metal Gear Solid 5. Horses. Stealth horses, in fact.
Stealth horses. I mean,
Traveling Salesman missed what actor in Star Trek we were talking about. We were talking about Nolan North having an acting role in
he has acted in stuff before. He's not just a voice actor.
He's a voice with legs.
He's a voice with legs.
Like to my editor when he was telling me about the character, I said to him, Nolan North has two voices. He has Penguin from Arkham City and he has Nolan North. Those are the only two he can do, and then he just does slight variations on them depending on the personality of the person.
He's obviously got himself a good brand then. The Nolan North brand.
I worry that Troy Baker is getting everywhere as well. He voices the main character in The Last of Us, and he's the one who did Jake in Resident Evil 6, Fava Torres in Disgaea 4, except he has a much better range. I didn't realise it was him until near the end of the game.
See, that's a good thing. If you can't, because otherwise you end up stuck with like having somebody like I'll put into context like the Frost books, right?
Okay, just because your girlfriend's reading them.
Prior to like watching these were made before the TV show.
Yes, they were. Yes,
you now have David Jason's image in your head when you're reading the book.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
but that's a good example, I suppose.
David Jason is awesome
because he is a good actor. But if it was somebody that is everywhere all the time and it's bad and they don't have any range, then you're just going to picture, like, suddenly you'll be thinking, oh, it's the Penguin, when it's actually supposed to be a really, really good guy.
Liam Neeson is Liam Neeson in every movie he's in.
Yeah, there's that too.
But that's okay because he's kind of awesome. He can't do a good accent, but he makes a damn fine good Liam Neeson. So back to the show.
Back to E3, yeah.
Did you watch the Metal Gear Solid 5 reveal?
No, because I have no interest in Metal Gear Solid at all. I don't know how I
Kiefer Sutherland. I don't know why that makes you laugh so much. Why? Does Sutherland annoy you, or do you like him? Did you watch 24?
I've watched the first season of 24, but how he must be pretty old by now for a start.
Well, you mean the character of Snake? It's a prequel. It's Big Boss. Towards the end of his career as Big Boss, I believe.
I for some reason the Metal Gear Solid franchise never grabbed me, and because it never grabbed me at the start, it's like, why would I want to go in now, not having all of that, backstory that's potentially there? That would annoy the fuck out of me.
Traveling Salesman in the chat is asking why they ditched David Hayter. Kojima ditched him for the same reason that Ubisoft ditched Ironside for Sam Fisher's voice in Splinter Cell Blacklist, and also there's a third game that they've... Oh, and in Arkham Origins, they got rid of... I can't remember his name. The guy who always voices Batman, who I really like, and I can't remember his name. Damn. Either way, the reason they all did it is for the same thing. They wanted to have a... No, it wasn't just mocap.
But
they wanted a fresh take on the roles.
That's not actually what was announced in the Ubisoft one. That whole issue.
But they wouldn't announce that they're arseholes.
The whole issue was based on the fact that they wanted... No, it's even worse than having a fresh person in.
Oh yeah, it was because Ironside wasn't as healthy enough.
Yes, he wasn't healthy enough to be full, like the same voice for the same mocap, because he wasn't capable of doing some of the stuff that they wanted him to do. That's it.
But that wasn't the case for David Hayter, who did live action stuff for Konami.
I suppose, I guess, to a certain extent, injecting some fresh talent into something, but...
Oh, interestingly, and kind of connecting to what we were talking about, when they were showing Arkham Origins in new CG trailers, they showed that the Joker was in it, and it's obviously not Mark Hamill doing it because he's not doing it anymore. It's Troy Baker doing it. I'm wondering if he's the one who did it for Injustice, because whoever did it for Injustice I quite liked. I thought they did an okay job at it.
He's going to be everywhere. He's fighting. There's going to be like a showdown.
Also, Batman was Kevin Conroy. Thank you, good Rory. I was just checking it myself as well.
Nolan North, Troy Baker showdown.
Someone still needs to make an indie game where they hire Nolan North to do every voice, sound effect, music, just dubstep, just him going whoop, 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 whoop. And like I said the last time I brought up, I think he'd be into it. I think he gets the joke, and he doesn't mind if people think he's all over the place and only has his Nolan North voice.
We should ask him.
Well, we keep saying that and never do, and we don't have the means to make an indie game, so I don't think that's a good idea. I'm guessing by the fact we both managed to get distracted off of Metal Gear Solid 5 confirms that neither of us particularly care about it.
We start Kickstarter to get money to pay Nolan North to do. We'll just buy it. We'll just buy the indie game. We'll just buy
talent. Talent can be bought.
It doesn't have to be a good game. It'll be made up for with the fact that Nolan North does all of the voices and all of the sound effects. People would buy it just to see what the fuck was going on.
So the Fox engine that MGS5 is being built in, I remarked in my notes that it looked very pretty, but also that it can't do lip syncing very well at all. It was pretty all over the place with the lip syncing. But that's about it. I didn't really glean anything else from it because I'm not interested in it. I joked that the trailer kept on going into fast forward at points just to speed it along to the next thing they wanted to show. I like to think that that's going to be something that's a feature in the next game, just so that there's less gameplay between each bit of needless exposition.
It would just become Heavy Rain. It's just nothing but conversation.
Heavy Rain wasn't nothing.
No, I know.
You occasionally moved the pad.
You occasionally did a little striptease.
Yeah.
That's still like the most successful part of that playthrough you put up, isn't it?
Which one?
The Heavy Rain playthrough, the striptease bit.
Oh, that got deleted for inappropriate content. Someone reported it because it had visible boobies in it.
Visible boobies.
And also a later part in the
boobies?
storyline where Ethan and her have sex, but you don't actually see the sex. That got deleted for inappropriate content, even though you see absolutely nothing. Because people are stupid.
People are stupid. Hey, yep. You're stupid.
That's why 2 parts of my Heavy Rain playthrough are missing. Inappropriate content.
Just wait.
And yet they're fine with having the part where you cut off your own finger or kill people. That's fine. Just wait. No nudity.
Just wait till somebody catches onto the podcast content.
Oh.
Suddenly all your podcast videos will vanish.
So let me see. What was after Metal Gear Solid? They had someone on talking about TV, but let's brush over that very quickly. There's a new 360 model that's even thinner than the current Elite model.
Is it like as thin as a piece of paper?
Yes.
Good. That's what I wanted.
I can't confirm that.
Oh.
Also, they then announced, Yusuf, whatever his name is, announced that they're copying PSN Plus's idea of giving people subscribing to their memberships free games every month.
I saw that bit, but it's like really, really...
It's really old games. Really... The 2 examples they used are Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3.
See, now... I could understand it if they were like golden oldies, if they had access to things that, say, like Sega had produced back in its heyday. And it were things that people might have an interest in wanting to play again. Like the whole reason I've got like the Sega Master Collection thing that's got like
Streets of Rage 2.
Exactly. That's it. If they said, yeah, we'll give you Streets of Rage 2, that's fine. I would be happy with that. But giving games...
But that's already available via arcade, though.
Yeah, okay. But giving people access to things that they've probably played, I say fairly recently, if you know what I mean, and sort of in the last sort of, let's say 5 years or whatever, it's a bit like, well, I just kind of finished that, sold it on. I don't really have any interest in playing it again. I don't understand. I don't get, like, I see the whole the advertising. Oh, we'll give you free games, but they're shit games. But they're free, so you'll want them anyway. No,
the ones on PSN Plus are usually pretty good.
Well, there is that, and
which is interesting. Of course, if your membership runs out, you lose access to them. But that's the same on this new system the Xbox is doing.
The one thing that I'm interested in seeing in particular is how the new PSN holds up in terms of network.
We'll get to Sony afterwards. This is still Xbone territory.
Xbone. Stop playing with your bone.
Yeah,
Carry
so
on.
the next reveal was for the 360 as well, not the Xbone. The Xbox 360 is getting World of Tanks. Do you know what that is? It's quite a popular free-to-play
I've seen
PC.
adverts for it on like late-night TV, weirdly enough.
On TV? That's weird.
Yeah, on the same channels that usually advertise a lot of the gambling websites as well. They just must
think that
they must assume people
gamblers are into that kind of thing.
I think they think that people that watch like late-night panel shows must be compulsive gamblers who like playing with tanks.
Well, wait, where are you on, Dave? Because that's pretty much...
Yeah. That's the channel.
That's why, then. They know their audience very well.
Gambling tank addicts.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you really love tanks, you'll be able to play it on 360 if you've never played the free version on PC that doesn't require a good PC because it's not very good graphically. Bloody hell, we've shed viewers. We were at 9, now we're back to 6. That's horrific.
Yep. Keep going. I want to see if we can get down to 1.
Okay. Okay, well, let's see. What was next? They showed... there was a new platformer called Max, The Curse of Brotherhood, but it's for kids.
I was going to say I didn't see this, but then obviously that's because I...
Very stereotypical old-school platformer involving someone who accidentally gets his brother cursed and kidnapped, and then he has to go rescue him.
Sounds great.
Yeah. It's for kids. It's not... You can't be harsh to things meant for kids, really. Well, you can, but it makes you a bastard.
I'm cool with that.
Okay. So the next thing they showed was From Software and Bandai Namco's new trailer for Dark Souls 2, which I mentioned briefly last time.
Yeah.
The thing most people seem to pick up on was because it used a Smashing Pumpkins song for the trailer for some reason. I don't quite get the reference, but yeah.
What was I don't actually remember, to be perfectly honest with you. Anyway,
I don't know if it was one of their new ones because I think they reformed recently or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, they used Smashing Pumpkins, and that's the thing people remember from the trailer, which I guess means they made it fit it well.
Maybe it's just the fact that it was a known piece of music rather than just generic,
Oh, look, they've paid for the rights to a Smashing Pumpkins song. This game will be awesome.
The last time I can distinctly remember that happening was on one of those big stompy mech games that you had for the Xbox. And it had a Papa Roach getting away with murder track. There's a big
stompy mech game on the original Xbox?
Yeah, on the original Xbox.
Oof, that's going back too far for me to remember.
What did you have?
Armored Core, possibly, but I thought that was PlayStation.
No, it was definitely on the Xbox. Anyway.
Either way. If you know in the chat, please let us know. So yeah, let's move on to proper Xbox stuff. The very first game that's going to be a launch title for it was Rise. I can't remember what the subtitle of it was. I'm sure it had one. Rise Total War Shogun. No, it's called Rise Son of Rome.
Son of Rome.
Yeah, it's Gods of War with lots of QuickTime events.
Yeah, it did definitely look very QuickTime heavy. But they showed some of this off last E3 when they were talking about, the graphic potential of things in future. I remember seeing it then. But
I didn't, so well remembered.
But it was...
Possibly because I don't give a crap about Romans, but
very,
I don't know.
Very QuickTime heavy. I mean,
it could have been the way the guy was playing it. Though.
That can be cool. I mean, like Heavy Rain pulled it off, but that's a unique game for it. I wouldn't want to play an action-based game full of QuickTime events. Otherwise, I would just play Resident Evil. And that's shit!
Oh, there will never be a podcast go by where we don't diss on Resident Evil 6. You hear that, Noodles? No, you don't hear that.
Let's make a verbal agreement right here, right now. I'll spit on it.
Everybody in this chat currently who has Noodles on their friends list on Steam, send them a message. Just shout.
Resident Evil 6 sucks, lol, 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 lol.
Yeah, because he likes Resident Evil 6, so do that.
Yeah, everybody go do that. Even if you're listening to this in hindsight and it's not live, just still do it then. Just open up Steam, find his name, send him a message, make sure it hits home.
What if there's someone with a very similar name and we've just gotten them harassed?
Then we're bad people. But I'm okay with that.
One thing I noticed during the Rise demo is how come all the Roman soldiers had British and American accents?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, there's not really an awful lot of getting around that.
No, but there's going to be a new Killer Instinct. Did you play that?
I did. I didn't play the original Killer. I think I didn't own it. I think I played it once. Beat 'em ups were never really my thing, but I saw that. It's like 20. Yeah. It's like 20-year-old franchise.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very, very, very old.
It's supposed to have been a bit more, not gorier than Mortal Kombat, but it was in that sort of vein as opposed to Street Fighter. I'm not really interested.
So it was during this Killer Instinct thing that controversy apparently happened. I must admit, it didn't even register to me at the time, but they got a girl on stage and were beating her at the game, and something that can be construed as rape was being said by the person winning. And it's not clear
yes,
whether it was scripted or if he was just doing it on the fly. It sounded bad and fake enough that the whole thing was scripted.
He said something along the lines of just accept it.
He said, "Just lay down; it'll be over soon."
That's it.
Which I don't think is directly saying, "I am about to rape you. Please lie down and accept my penis."
No. I laughed when I heard it. That's because I've got a dirty mind. I've got a much dirtier mind than you, obviously.
It's because when they start doing the really fake team talk, it drives me nuts, so I try and ignore it. Plus, I'm writing my notes at the same time.
Turn your ears off at that point.
Yeah. So either way, Microsoft has issued an apology on that. It wasn't picked up by very many gaming sites that they did that. Weird. But they apologized for making something that can be construed as a rape reference on stage. While a male gamer beats a girl gamer, and then she went on the cloud and asked for help, and someone beat him for her or something. I didn't really pay attention to cloud stuff.
It's a bit
annoys me.
It's been a bit of a bad conference for Microsoft with the rape talk.
It was bad after bad. So the next game was from Insomniac, Ted Price. It was called Sunset Overdrive. Apparently it's an open world shooter. It changes every day and it needs the cloud, so it's always on. But it's not an MMO, it's just an always on thing. And
this is why you need always on. Always on.
I described it as looking like Brink if Brink were a cartoon in terms of visual style, but I could be a bit off with that. They were shooting monsters. and explosions and
explosions.
Twat was riding along washing lines through a city while other people were having fights. It definitely wasn't in-game footage, so that's also why I wasn't that interested in it.
Should we move on?
Oh, but they covered Forza next, or Forza, whatever it's called.
Wow, cars.
Yeah.
Wow. We're not really into racing games, for anybody that has been following us for any length of time would tell you.
Twisted Metal 2?
Twisted Metal 2 was a very good game, but that's not a racing game.
Not really racing in a traditional sense. No, it's more like it's Demolition Derby.
I mean, the last time I could probably say that I enjoyed a racing game, you're talking about Road Rash, and even that wasn't really racing because you were trying to kick people off the other bikes. Yeah. So, you using a metal chain or a billy club and stuff to knock people off the bike. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, there has to be
They spent way too long talking about cars, and after that, Phil Harrison was the one talking, and he's the one who handles like the indie stuff to do with Xbox in particular. So, he found this new game. It's called Minecraft. It's already on Xbox 360, but because
it's called what craft?
Crafting of mines. I think you go digging in the ground or something like that. It sounds really bad. I don't know why.
I don't think I've heard of this.
It's already on Xbox 360, and apparently 6 million people have bought it. But because purchases can't be transferred to the Xbone,
they're assuming
to buy it again.
6 million people are going to buy it all over again.
Yeah, and also, we talked about this before, but indie devs won't need a publisher if they get onto the platform, unless they're big enough that they can publish themselves. So it's no surprise, really, that all the indie guys went to Sony, which we'll talk about when we get onto the Sony conference.
Okay.
So that was pretty much the only genuine indie game they showed, and it's one they've already got out, and they expect everyone else to buy again.
You can't even really say that anything produced by Mojang really constitutes an indie game anymore, though. At the time, yeah.
No, they've grown beyond it now. They're a massive company now, in terms of financial wealth, anyway. So what did they do after that? Let me see. They talked about MS Studios' Dave McCarthy came on to chat. Oh yeah, it kept on looking like he was holding an iPad, but I think it was just like one of the Windows rip-off iPads.
Whatever they're called. Windows tablet.
Oh yeah, this is that weird game with the goblins and stuff where one guy was using his iPad thing to craft the land, God style, and then the other guy was actually in the world helping fight off goblins. They seem to really be pushing that, using tablets or using the cloud for people to help you cheat your way through games in some manner.
It seems that it's down to gimmicks again, really, isn't it?
CR says it's my fault his Chaos team sucks. I'm on Team Chaos. I'm Nurgle all the way, man.
It sounds like, once again, it's all down to the gimmicks. I mean, remember we had the whole Connect, Move, Wii Remote sort of thing a while back. Yep. Now they're all again doing like, it's all like let's all use the cloud. Let's love the cloud. Clouds make it rain. Everybody loves the rain,
cloud.
Right?
I guess I understand people wanting to cheat. It's like all those folk who have
Sony have that
games.
Sony have that in as well, so you can't really tag that just against Microsoft. They advertised it first about bringing.
Sony advertised it as cross-game chat, which is slightly different and far better.
No, I'm pretty certain their original advertisement of this concept was to bring somebody in to basically take over the reins of your game. This is back when they had that smart button for them to instantly record something on the fly.
That was a while ago. Yeah.
Yep. So
Nintendo's is by far the worst though, because all the retro Nintendo games are coming out, and morons of this generation of gamers are getting stumped by the simplest of things because they're used to being handheld through absolutely everything. There's wonderful collages of everyone getting stuck in Metroid the first time you need to turn into a ball. Or the worst one I saw by far was Mega Man X1, where you get down a little pit and you just wall jump your way out. And they don't realise you can jump up walls.
They don't realise you can press jump more than once.
They didn't think to experiment even for 30 seconds. They just thought, I'm on my Nintendo. I'll just post a message that everyone else can see and someone will help me. I don't think that's a good thing. I also don't think it's practical to have a tablet device next to you to help you with stuff when you're trying to play a game.
That's like playing a game with a PC sitting right next to you.
But I do that for recording purposes. I don't look at it while it records.
No.
That's why sometimes I lose whole parts, because I don't realise my Apache has crashed.
Whoops.
So, yeah. So, what do we have here? I remarked at that game where one person was using the pad to craft the world. It looked a bit like Dark Cloud on the PlayStation. Apparently it ruins the immersion, people were saying in the chat. that kind of thing if you have to keep on looking at a tablet for external stuff.
That's true. I think that's probably one of the things that kind of fell down when they were talking about using a Game Boy. Was it Game Boy Colors or whatever? Was it actual DSs? I can't remember. Either way, using a Nintendo handheld as your controller. So you had a screen on there that you could use. I remember there was talk about, it was a Final Fantasy game. Was it like Crystal Warriors or something like that, where you could play
Crystal Chronicles, probably.
You could play 4-player, and each person's controller had you had your inventory and stuff like that on your screen, so you didn't interrupt
there's
the play
Link's
that was going on.
Swords as well.
I think that was one I was thinking of, maybe that one. But it sounds a good idea in theory, but in practice, no. You don't want to be interrupting the gameplay for looking away from the screen.
Yeah. So during that, they also displayed Upload Studio, which is their version of being able to take gameplay. You can add commentary of your own via the Kinect microphone. Although I've spoken to my editor with him using the Kinect at one point, and it's not a very good quality mic. The new Kinect might have one, but the current one does not. But yeah, so as far as I can tell, it does basic editing. It does the equivalent of Windows Movie Maker. So, it's simple cuts and things. It's nothing fancy like Sony Vegas or Adobe. No. But, if they announced a partnership with Ustream, I think, or am I confusing that with Sony? They had one. It's Twitch. They have Twitch. Sony has Ustream, so they've got the bigger guy, and Twitch also allows you to obviously do directly to YouTube as well.
That's true. So I mean, it's as interesting. It stands, you can get onto. Can you go onto YouTube directly, like as an app on the PS3? I know you can on Xbox. Yes,
I don't know if you can on PS3 because I don't use it for that kind of thing. Anyone in the chat confirm? Is there a YouTube?
I'm wondering whether or not there is some sort of link, not necessarily under the table, but some sort of link between Microsoft and YouTube on that side of things.
But it's interesting. Both new consoles are allowing sharing to live streaming platforms, which in themselves imply they're also okay with videos. Because streaming a full game is the same as uploading a playthrough of a full game.
That's very.
So that's interesting.
I vaguely remember when I was looking into starting with podcasting and stuff. And if you're broadcasting live, there are some slightly different rules and regulations on what you can and can't use.
Like tips, for example.
You can kind of get away to a certain extent if you're doing something live with having music to a certain.
Laws for fair use are exactly the same.
Maybe so
if they are saying it's okay to stream a game, I would take it compass mentis that it's okay to upload videos of one too.
Uploading it implies that at any point in time you can go on and access that content. But if it's something that's being streamed live, once it's gone, it's gone.
That's Twitch creates highlight reels.
Yes, but that's different when you come to Twitch because it's practically hoarding it all anyway. You're essentially uploading it like you would for YouTube.
Yes.
If you're just streaming it, if it's not being stored for future use, if it's just being streamed, once it's gone, then that's it. You could technically say and do whatever the fuck you wanted. You could get in trouble for somebody having
you could get in trouble.
But it's not ingrained into it's not. You could have somebody walk past and play music or whatever, and you wouldn't get in trouble because it's not going to be sitting there recorded. It's done. It's gone. Past.
Yeah. Although you would obviously have to edit that out if you did. Then
it's like say if a streaker runs onto a football pitch and they're completely butt naked, and obviously you can't broadcast that sort of shit during live TV during the day, but you can't get around it. Once it's been and gone, it's gone. They can send out an apology and stuff, but they can't really be fined for broadcasting something where somebody was a bit naked.
What is that saying about acting first and then just begging for forgiveness later? I must admit I don't agree with that particular saying, but there is one. If anyone knows, say in the chat, please. So then they showed a little video of a game called Crimson Dragon, but they glitched out and it didn't have any audio, during which silence there was booing from the audience. Very audible booing.
Having technical glitches at a very technical convention is kind of bad form, considering the sheer volume. I think that's partly
why Nintendo stopped doing it, because they had that horrible one where Miyamoto was trying to play Skyward Sword and he just couldn't because of all the interference. The Wii remote just wasn't working.
It's interesting idea to try to do, but doing something like that, in front of masses of people on stage, can bring about all sorts of problems. True. If you're safer off, doing pre-recorded stuff rather than doing everything live.
I'm just hurrying to Twitter again.
Telling everybody on Twitter that we're bitching about Microsoft.
I almost literally typed exactly that. The saying is, I didn't ask permission, asked forgiveness. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on, the next game they showed was the only Xbox exclusive I will slightly regret not being able to play, which is Dead Rising 3. Which now looks like a modern game with pretty graphics and none of the character and serve-bot fetish that had.
They've gone for a slightly grittier sort of style.
Do you like that or not?
I don't know. I think because of how I enjoyed the first two, and the styling of the first two is kind of what I associate with that franchise. Going away from that and trying to be sort of let's say more realistic. Let's just call it that.
He did combine a chainsaw and a sledgehammer, so let's not say
I don't. Right, I mean, a more realistic artistic direction.
Yeah,
right?
It's more real world.
I don't know. I don't know whether I want that.
I thought it looked okay. It looked enough to keep me interested in it, but that was up until the point near the end. See, don't beat me on Steam, where he used the iPad thing, off screen to call in an airstrike. Like the mechanic you're playing as has the ability to call in airstrikes for some reason.
You just say, right, okay,
all right. We're playing as a guy who obviously has no military connections, but he can order an airstrike because it uses the cloud and tablets and smart glass. Because you must buy smart glass. You must buy smart glass.
Must buy more shit. Buy more shit. Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, you say that, but you don't have any idea what it is.
No, that's exciting. Excitement. What is it?
The next thing they showed was John Mimas in The Witcher 3. And it reminded me I still haven't played through Witcher 2. I've gone 10 hours into it, and I never did the rest.
I could have sworn you finished it.
No. Oh
well.
It's because I kept on insisting on not changing the difficulty, and the default difficulty is punishing as hell.
That's good.
Well,
challenge
to a certain extent. I would say it teeters on fair challenge, from what I recall. Yeah, it was the guy who made No More Heroes, yes. Sorry, we were having a conversation about Suda 51 and Killer 7 and Killer is Dead while we were taking a brief constitutional.
Thank you.
So, next comes the fun bit. EA and DICE were on stage next to talk about Battlefield 4, which you're impressed with.
I am. I am definitely.
So you point out, the first time they tried to play the on-stage demo for it, there was a very awkward moment where nothing was happening, and it felt like it went on for ages, with just the guy standing there in silence. He's not sure whether to walk off or walk on or stay there. And
he
said something along the lines of, I guess we'll see it later then, and he started to walk off, and the folk behind the stage kept on just going, no, stay there, we'll get out where you can. And because of the dead silence, you heard someone in the audience doing a Nelson, ha ha. It was very funny.
That's a little unfortunate, but then, with the actual showing of the game kind of made up for it, I reckon.
Well, because it's got good graphics, you hear.
It's not just that, but in terms of gameplay and stuff, it's just far outshining anything that Call of Duty is putting out these days.
What I noticed was it was an on-stage demo, apparently, because they had someone on stage with a controller.
Right.
Apparently playing it. Why did they have the issue of it not being able to play? Like it was a trailer.
I don't know. Perhaps it's not actually running on the console. That could be.
Yeah. Sadly, there's no word on whether or not it would require an Origin account, although since it's an EA game, you can probably assume that it will.
Yeah, I would say to assume that it is, but then, you wouldn't necessarily need to install it as a program if you're getting on the console, and that might be a good idea.
Battlefield 4 is on all consoles and PC, yes.
Yeah.
People asking in the chat.
Yes. Ideally, I would like to play on PC. Not sure if mine would handle it, but also at the same time, you've got that Origin issue, and I might be able to coax you into getting it if it was on a console.
Possibly, because Origin would be less intrusive.
Yeah. Because...
during the Battlefield 4 gameplay trailer/demo, people noticed that there was a backspace key appearing during the demo of it, so it was playing on a PC, not a console, even though it was at the Expo conference.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah, also I noticed, I think it was this one, was this the one where they acted as if they were joining a big game with 64 people, and they had the 64 people, but they focused on just what their little squad was doing.
Yes.
The thing that bugged me about that is although obviously it wasn't scripted because it was real people, what they were doing was very scripted.
Oh, yeah. It
because
was like
otherwise they'd be dying and respawning, but no, they just happened to win every fight they got into easily.
There is that, but then
they had someone using the cloud to drop airstrikes. Because that's all tablets are for, dropping airstrikes.
Buy tablet, get airstrike. But you need that little bit of flair to show things off and stuff, and it's like...
I don't mind, but they shouldn't tout it as, here's a real multiplayer match. We've got all these people on stage, they're all playing for real. No, they're not. They're going through a very particular set of steps they'll have rehearsed 10 times over.
But
that's what's annoying me.
It still shows off some pretty nice looking gameplay.
Yeah, it showed off a really nice building falling over, not unlike any tragedy that struck the US. that was a bit risky doing that.
It's been long enough.
Oh, okay, is it past the threshold?
Yeah, it's funny again now. Isn't that the rule? After a certain length of time, it's allowed to be funny.
It's not
to laugh things.
Yeah,
I'm fairly sure there's a comedian that went on stage and started doing that with an awful lot of close to the bone things. It was probably Frankie Boyle.
Don't put it at his door.
But anyway, yeah. So I am interested in Battlefield 4. If wrong.
Just wrong. Just in general, you're interested because it has pretty graphics.
No, I'm interested.
That's pretty much all it is.
I thoroughly enjoyed Battlefield 2 and was pulled away from Battlefield 3 because nobody was interested in it because of Origin, etc.
But you did try it though.
I tried the demo and I enjoyed it.
I remember you doing a video of it.
I did, yes. I uploaded it to test it out on a mid-range computer, and it ran perfectly fine. And I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So then there was a short trailer.
I would still be tempted, and I would still definitely be tempted to go and get it for PC as it stands.
What, Battlefield 3?
Yeah, if I could coax other people.
Even though they've abandoned it and they're busy making DLC for Battlefield 4, even though it's not out yet.
I could probably pick it up on the cheap.
I beg to differ, but feel free to look into it.
I'll look into that. We'll have a look into that at some point. Anyway, I'll let you carry on.
Well, the next game they showed was an undisclosed Halo game of some form, showing Master Chief having a conversation with a big winged Gundam giant robot thing. Don't really care.
Be robot.
I think it's probably connected to their TV series that they're doing.
Oh yeah, I nearly forgot about that.
To never mention TV. It was all gaming and all cloud. They all mentioned cloud as subtly as possible every opportunity they got. I noticed that very clearly.
It's yeah.
Yeah, so I think that got to the end of the conference there, which they closed on Respawn Entertainment's new game. They're the ones who left the Call of Duty debacle, fell out with Activision, etc., made their own company.
Yeah.
So it's called, I can't remember what it's called again, Titanfall. It's Call of Duty, but in the future with Gundam-type robots, and it looks quite good. Apparently it's a Source engine game, I heard someone say, but I'm not sure if that's true or not.
That seems a bit...
Titanfall was, good Rory's saying in the chat, it was the only one he liked to look up. I agree. That and Dead Rising 3 were the only two I thought I'd miss out on by not getting an Xbox, but Titanfall was actually like a PC game. So
that's fine.
That kind of lends credence to the fact it was a Source game. And I didn't think it looked that great graphically, which would also...
It looks all right. It doesn't.
Yeah, it looks fine.
It didn't look bad. And the gameplay looks like from the small amount.
It just wasn't next gen. It did seem like a purely current gen.
Yeah, but that's always going to be the case for some of the stuff when a new generation comes out.
Graphics sometimes for lots of people.
Yeah.
Although Battlefield has 64 apparently, and it looks so better. But
but that's different.
So that's what they closed the show on. They closed the show on a game that looks good, but it's not exclusive to Xbone. I came away very disappointed by what was on show. They focused too much on their smart glass BS and their tablets, and they're dropping airstrikes in every game possible. That's how they should market their new Windows tablet range. They should just one tablet, all airstrikes.
I get the premise of doing that, but there's no need for it to be everywhere.
No, there is not. It's just a gimmick, but you know.
I'm going to go up there and see whether or not my tablet can drop an airstrike on somebody I don't like.
Leave me alone.
I wasn't insinuating you, but, you know.
So after the show, there was some more Xbone stuff revealed. If you don't like the Always On, you have to stick with your 360, or, fuck them, buy a PS4.
Yep.
The Xbone only works in 21 countries at launch. Those, including countries where it doesn't work, are Asia. All of Asia.
Poland is one of them, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Poland as well, which is ironic because The Witcher 3 is being made in Poland for the Xbone, so they can't play their own game.
Fantastic.
Yeah. This is all questions being answered by the official support, by the way, so these are all true. They're not like, maybe it's like this, maybe it's not. It is absolutely...
Yeah, it's not rumour milling, it's actual confirmed stuff.
So it's quicker to list the countries where it is going to work in at launch, actually. Ireland, Italy, Mexico, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Russia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, United Kingdom, and United States. That's it.
You didn't say
Anywhere
France.
else, you're screwed.
You didn't say France. So Ubisoft can't go near it.
Well, maybe they're being slightly racist and they assume United Kingdom means Europe. Oh no, but actually they had Spain separate.
Mm-hmm.
And Italy as well.
Was Germany in that list?
No.
The Germans can't play it either.
Well, you know what it is? These are all the countries who have really strict regulations regarding online stuff. And they won't let Microsoft get away with the shit. Yeah, I already mentioned all of Asia. Thank you, travelling salesperson.
Maybe it's France.
Australia, I mentioned that New Zealand was on the list, so Australia isn't. Again, because they have very strict rules regarding online stuff. So yeah, that's not so great.
Not so good, Alan. Not so
I do
good.
also have a list of the launch titles for Xbone as well. So you can tell me whether or not you're interested or not.
Okay, I'll do a bing or a boo.
Okay. Rise, Son of Rome.
Boo.
Dead Rising 3.
Bing. But this is on the basis that I'm not going to buy the console, right? So it's not none of these things are going to make me buy the console, but things that I thought were good or thought were bad. So
okay. So what was that? A bing?
That was a bing.
I forgot to mention there was a new 3D Plants vs. Zombie game, but it's only a timed exclusive on Xbone. So that doesn't even get a bong, it just gets a... Sunset Overdrive.
Bleh.
Quantum Break, which I forgot to mention. That's the Remedy game.
Did that...
You didn't really show much of it. It's still up in the air what the hell that's even about.
And that's still an exclusive for them as well, isn't it?
That is an exclusive, yes.
We didn't really see enough, so I can't comment. Not
okay.
Enough to worry.
I wasn't really concentrating on launch titles there, actually. They weren't launch titles. Forza 5 was a launch title.
Bleh.
Killer Instinct is a launch title.
Bleh.
Kinect Sports Rivals.
Bleh.
Minecraft, the Xbone edition.
Bleh. I've got fucking Minecraft on the PC.
That's all for launch titles. All the rest are just, coming soon to Xbone, etc.
Wow, big one.
Yeah.
That's not so good.
So shall we move on to Sony's conference?
Yes, let's.
Okay. So how did they open it? Let's have a little look. They opened with a collage of various games. I noticed that Warframe was in it, even though we didn't cover it during the conference. So Warframe will be coming to PS3 or 4 or both. Which I thought was interesting.
That's different. But, Warframe's going to be difficult for a console because I can't see there being enough content to warrant shelling out for it.
They have added more since the last time we played it. They added a dojo thing, which I think is PvP and stuff like that. I've been keeping kind of a rough look at it. So then they started their conference with, why you should buy Vita. There's not any games on it yet, so I wouldn't bother.
A Vita?
Yeah. And then they started covering stuff for the PS3, which honestly I don't think it matters much. It's just all the various DLC for games that are on both systems that they've managed to secure. So skins for Arkham Origins, a special headset for GTA 5, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. So that's not much that I want to talk about really, because, PS3 stuff is fine, but it's next gen we're here to talk about.
Yes.
Although I will say the release date for Batman Arkham Origins, I tried to combine Batman and Arkham there. Arkham Origins. It's going to be out in October, I believe it was. The end of October, I think.
It's a difficult time to release games, really. That sort of...
Oh, and one of the DLC skins they have is 1960s Batman.
Oh, fantastic. It is a very difficult time to release a game just before a new console comes out, because it's like people are more interested in the new games coming out for the new console rather than your stuff that you're releasing for the current one. People are planning on getting rid of consoles so they've got the money to buy the new one, so they won't be able to buy your game.
We forgot to mention that this is the first time the PS4 got revealed as well. Do you have an opinion on what it looks like?
I think the two consoles look practically identical. I
do.
like I don't know if you stole the analogy which you're about to use.
Oh, I did. I stole it from Reddit.
Oh, right, okay.
You can use it. Go on.
So you're saying
so you can steal it from me.
One of them is like italicized and one of them is bold.
Yeah, Xbone is bold, PS4 is italics. And it's true. If you look at them side on, it's true.
So they look pretty much the same.
If you look at the PS4 pad from, if you sit on a table and bend over and look at it at eye level, it looks like a happy sea animal of some kind. I think it was a manta ray.
Happy sea animal.
Yeah, it looks like a smiling manta ray or something like that. And now that's something I will never be able to unsee, assuming they don't change the design of the pad.
Excellent.
It's like the GoldenEye box all over again.
Gorilla face. It's a monkey face. Where did they get the monkey face from?
It's not, but they didn't do it on purpose. It's just his knuckles. It just makes him look like he has a monkey face.
If you have yet to see this, go on Google Images and put in like monkey face, GoldenEye box, or something along those lines. Anything in that category.
But be aware, once you see it, you will never unsee it.
You can't unsee it. It's kind of like the Resident Evil 6 blowjob giraffe. Anyway.
Yeah, I was just waiting for you there. I'll try and find a picture of the PS4 controller in a second.
About the two consoles and stuff, the only thing that, like, I don't really ever see them because of the way my system set up is they're kind of pushed out of eye view, so I don't get to see them that much. The only thing that I want is assuming that they are very dark or black, because that fits with the rest of it. And they both are, so that's fine.
So the next game they showed after some more, jibber jabber was that The Order 1886, which was the Ye Olde England thing.
I don't think I saw this. I don't think.
I think you saw a bit of it. It looked like they were fighting werewolves or something like that, which was a bit weird.
Oh, right. Yes, yes, I remember.
But it's like it was steampunky Ye Olde. It was Ye Olde, but they had like futuristic type stuff.
They had guns and things. It didn't seem like at first. It didn't seem like that was going to be that sort of style. And then all of a sudden,
I'm not. Then it suddenly went to like, they're fighting monsters in the fog of old England or old New England. I'm not sure.
It didn't. It didn't make much sense.
No, it did not. It looked all right, but I think it was largely CG, so can't really judge.
Yeah, it's all right to showcase things with CG, but you can't make any realistic opinion on whether you want to buy or play a game.
Yeah,
all you've seen is CG. It might be fantastic concept. This is where you fall down the Peter Molyneux trap, where he's got a fantastic concept, brilliant ideas, but executed so poorly that
don't get me started on Mr. Peter. They showed more of that Killzone game. Are you interested in that game?
I haven't played any of those. So.
I've only played the second one and I didn't like it.
I think I played a demo of the second one.
The controller was horrific, controls were horrific rather, and the characters were terrible.
The graphics were nice. That's the only thing I can remember.
Yeah, graphics are always nice in the Killzone games, that's true. But other than that, so what did they move on to that? They showed a new trailer for Infamous Second Son, but it was mostly CG, so...
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to comment on CG stuff because you can't tell if a game's going to be any good on it.
You could have a really, really nice opening cutscene and the game could be utter gash afterwards. Man, you'd be pissed. You sat through like a 20-minute opening movie and then you were just given this pile of shit.
So then they showed... Remember that old man showing off how the PS4 renders things?
Yeah.
Well, they showed off part of a 12-minute tech demo made by Quantic Dreams, who did Heavy Rain, I think. And it did the old guy, he's like a wizard casting, but then it reveals he's actually just an actor, and it's showing off his facial range, etc. It's quite impressive for a tech demo. Also, I'm losing my voice in case you can't tell already.
Excellent.
Yeah. Talking too much.
That's
just what happens when I do all the research and you don't.
I just turn up and have fun.
Yeah. Fuck your fun. No, wait, that sounds wrong.
Although I do then have to spend time doing the edit and render and record and upload and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, boo-hoo. And then they did a huge indie dev spotlight thing.
They basically turned around and said, all the indie devs aren't going to be with Xbox, but they're all here. We've got them all. Like, come here. We have all of them. Yeah,
they do. They do pretty much have all of them. They started with Don't Starve. That's coming to PS. Yep. PS on both, ? Octodad, which isn't something I've played, but I know of it. It's really weird. Secret Ponchos. There's a zombie stealth action game I can't remember the name of. Outlast, and there's a remake of Oddworld, the original Oddworld. Ooh, you never heard about that one, did you?
I must have missed that bit. I quite enjoyed the odd Abe's Odyssey and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
They're getting lots of indie games. Then they spoke about Diablo 3, but I'm going to brush over that if you don't mind.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah. So the next bit was the Square Enix part of the show, where they revealed that Final Fantasy 13 Versus is being remade into Final Fantasy 15 because it's taken so long to make.
That seems to be their problem lately. They take too long to build something, and then it comes out and it's not what everybody was led to believe it was going to be, and it probably isn't what they started making in the first place. They lose their focus, and then
I read an interview with them later, and they said they decided around about last year, but they had to keep it quiet, that they wanted it to become a next-gen console game rather than a current-gen one, and that's part of the reason why they made the Switch.
Lies.
Well, I think...
And they didn't even make any mention about Final Fantasy 14 ever actually turning up on the PlayStation. Remember that? Remember it was supposed to be on the
it still is. The new version is.
Is it?
Yeah, the new version is. The Realm Reborn is.
Is it? I didn't hear any mention of that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So there. And then they showed Kingdom Hearts 3, a very early trailer, which I can't wait for, but it's probably going to take ages to come out.
This is going to be kind of like the sound bite for this podcast where I say that such and such looked nice in terms of graphics. It did actually look quite shiny.
Yeah, the in-game graphics they've gone with, it's just a better version of the old ones.
Yeah,
so
they've kept the same artistic style, but they've kind of just
the Disney cartoonish style.
Not really my thing. Not really my thing, but you know.
No, it's not really for many people, but you know. I like it. I like those games. It's convoluted as they are. Weirdly, that is coming on to Xbone as well. It's not a PS4 exclusive, which is stupid because none of the other games have been, and the story gets more convoluted with each side story. And
I remember we talked about this in a previous podcast.
When I was playing through the 3DS one, or Birth by Sleep on the PSP as well.
This goes right back to the start of the podcast where I was saying about Metal Gear Solid and how not having played all the back stuff
jumping in. Yep. So I think it's a mistake. I think Xbox gamers will not like it as much as others on the PS whatever. And also I think it's a mistake to try and bring it to them at this late stage and then have to have in the 3DS one, they expected you to read page after page of exposition about here's what this happened, they did this. You don't know this character yet, but don't worry about it, we'll tell you who he is. He's actually 3 different people, but just wait and find out about why that is. And it just goes on like that. That is the Kingdom Hearts story is a mess.
It sounds to me
there are too many side stories.
It sounds to me like that there's one only real good reason for them to do this, and by good reason I mean from their point of view, not from ours. It is money because maybe it was an easy port. Like maybe it was very easy for them to put it on.
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, the new generation is very easy to swap between the two because they're both based in whatever chipset or whatever it was, and that's why they're ignoring the Wii U because the Wii U isn't. But it's very easy to port between Xbone and PS4.
And they're both running Blu-ray drives as opposed to one being a HD DVD, and they will now work in the same manner, whereas before they worked differently. Which is why you had all those extensive installs for Blu-ray. Blu-ray can hold a lot more stuff, but it doesn't have as easy a time accessing it as an HD DVD did. Anyway.
So they had an on-stage demo of Assassin's Creed 4 Next that managed to freeze near the end of it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that bit.
Yeah, it was a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Other than that, looked like every other Assassin's Creed, really. I don't care about it.
The bit that I distinctly remember, on a roundup, one of those roundup videos that you linked me, in fact, on the PS4, PS4 conference, Sony conference, was where they were talking about that and they were going, "Oh, it's a new Assassin's Creed." Oh, yeah, he's still doing that sitting down on a bench thing.
Yeah, he is. It's the same animation as it's been in the first game.
The same mechanics and the same animation throughout. Yeah. It's just.
Anyone else in the chat interested in Assassin's Creed 4, or is it something you don't care about, even if you were a fan of the other ones? Obviously, they're on a delay, so we won't get our answer until we've moved on, but, we can kind of fill space for a second.
3 killed it for me. We've done that.
Yeah, 3 was pretty bad, whereas Revelations, I thought the story in that was pretty good. I liked the ending to Ezio and Altier's story.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I enjoyed that time I spent with Ezio.
Yeah, he was by far the best character in terms of the ones in the past. That
one drunken night where our passions were... Sorry.
What the hell are you talking about?
Silence.
I was reading the chat to see if there was any. Good Rory was a fan of number 2. Just 2, not like the sequels to 2.
2 was good. It was very good.
So after that, there was a Watch Dogs on stage demo. Again, that looked all right, I guess. I'm fairly interested in that game, but not like, oh, I must play this now.
The more I see about it, the more, like, kind of it's appearing on my radar. But as you say, it's not something that... It's
interesting that you have hacking as your main tool to fight with. You can
and the fact that you can shoot people's kneecaps out sounds pretty cool.
You can, yeah. I remarked in my notes that rather than kill people, you just end their adventuring careers instead. Because you're a bastard.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the general plot is about it, other than, it's a dystopian city where people hack things for shits and giggles. And the PlayStation gets bonus DLC for Watch Dogs, because it's not an exclusive. In fact, it's on PS3 and PS4.
Yeah. That's not good, Al.
No. I just realised, was it during the Microsoft conference that they did the new Tom Clancy game, or was it the Sony one? Because I wanted to talk about that game because I think it's also on PC, regardless, and I like the look of it quite a lot.
The last time that it was talked about was actually during the Ubisoft specific part of a conference.
That's it. It was in the Ubisoft. All right, we're not actually going to cover that in detail, so I want to quickly mention it now. What was it called? I am checking my notes on the Ubisoft conference. It's called Tom Clancy's The Division, and I really like the look of that. That is well and truly on my radar. And it's out on Xbox and PS4.
Oh, that's fine then.
It's like a class-based world gone to hell, fighting with people, quest system. It looked really interesting. And it's a Tom Clancy game, so they're usually okay.
We have yet to really seriously be let down by one that we've picked up, because we never played like Walks and all that sort of bullshit. But
yeah, well. Good Rory says... Assassin's Creed 2 broke his PS3. I think you mean it assassinated it. That's what you get for... Yeah, you didn't realise he was there all the time. You thought you were playing...
You thought you were playing the game, but the game was playing you.
Oh! Yeah. Are you interested in the Elder Scrolls Online?
Do you know what? I was... when
so was your brother, but he's gone off it now as well, hasn't he?
I know, I was when it was a concept, before anything was even actually ever announced for it. When the idea of playing
because
an Elder
you were
Scrolls
thinking
game,
co-op Elder Scrolls.
That's what I was thinking. That is it. Down to the letter. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. It's just going to be an MMO.
MMO. Although you can play it in first person, a la any Elder Scroll games. That's what was revealed in the new trailers.
You can play an awful lot of MMOs in first person.
I know. It's not exactly a unique selling point, but that's...
It's never helpful for playing an MMO to play in first person.
So let me get to the part of the conference where Sony went on record that they're not having any always on, no DRM. The console is region free. Doesn't have to check in once every 24 hours. Doesn't have to check in once every hour if you're at friends. Basically everything they're doing now.
While helpful to know that these things aren't going to impact us, I suppose, not really necessary to be told stuff you already know and already experience. It just felt unnecessary, other than to prod the
obviously
Microsoft.
Disagree, because I think they had to take shots, because it's a massive selling point that they're not going the draconian ways that Microsoft are.
I suppose that... Would you really need to tell everybody that you're not doing the same thing?
In normal circumstances, no, but everybody thought they were going to be just... In the podcast we did on Friday, we were saying, Sony is going to end up being just as bad, but I'm going to go with them anyway because Microsoft are bastards.
I mean, technically,
after the good guy anyway.
After the conference, they did turn around and say that it kind of is up to the publishers to decide on the DRM that's going to be involved.
Which they only mean things like, say,
EA... online passes and stuff like that.
EA can't do online passes, although they went on record as saying they're not. It means like Battlefield 4 on PS4 will need an Origin account. That's DRM. Yeah. Sony can't stop them doing that.
There's nothing to stop them aside from like maybe a cost element. Stop third-party publishers from then... This is the example I gave to you recently, where your original copy of the game comes with a code. That code activates the game, essentially, right?
Yes.
You're fine. But then if you went and tried to sell it on to somebody, they can't buy the code except from specific retailers. The same sort of concept for selling on second-hand games for the Xbox. There's nothing to stop them doing that. I know they haven't put a system in place to encourage it.
Stupid enough to really do really bad DRM on a console that doesn't need it. In fact, technically, both of them don't.
But this is the kicker, because this thing is readily set up for on the Xbox.
They don't need to.
They'll be able to readily get away with it when it's a cross-platform title. like a Call of Duty title, it'll be so easy for them to just go, well, we're already doing this on the Xbox, we'll already do it on the PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2?
Yeah, it's PlayStation.
Yes, I know
comma,
it's TOO.
2.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I hope they don't.
I know. Oh, I definitely
hope they would pay for it if they try it.
I really don't hope that it's the direction they go down. It's a case of saying, like, we're allowed to do this on one console, so we might as well do it on the other two. At
the very least, Sony have gone on record that none of their games will have anything like that at all.
Yeah, they've said
their console is region-free, which is fantastic. Granted, the PS3 is also that. I'm just glad that they're sticking with that trend.
Region-free isn't as big a deal as it used to be.
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yep. I didn't want to have had to wait. Well, yeah, you had to wait a year and a half to play Demon's Souls after I did.
But that's true.
Which was entirely in English.
Okay, right. That's a.
I import with this Gaia games 5 months early because Nipponichi are really bad at getting localized European copies done.
Are they in English?
Yes, American versions. I mean, I'm importing them.
Oh, you're talking about the American version.
Yeah. Sometimes
there are the odd occasion, but it's not really a big, massive selling point.
Not to you, but to me, it is a big one.
I don't care about you. I care about me.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Well, I care about me more than I care about you. Yes.
So, yes, you can't. Avoid.
But I also care about other people other than you.
No, you
more than I care about myself.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. Anyway,
I don't really.
No.
So what else did they do? Let me see. Oh yeah, existing PSN Plus memberships that are currently on your PS Vita and or PS3 will also be on your PS4. It is shared amongst all of them.
That's pretty cool.
So that means your digital purchases or the games you've been given free it's technically not free because you're paying a membership, but it's the free games you get via PSN Plus will be available.
Yeah, that's pretty nifty.
You do now have to pay a subscription for PSN
that
Plus,
was expected.
It was expected, and I see that as a good thing because that means they have to use dedicated servers, and that means the internet service they provide will not be crap.
I'm hoping that that's the case. That is not not guaranteed.
They have said that is what they're doing. They needed the infrastructure because they're doing the cloud thing similar to Microsoft. They need dedicated servers for that. That's what the money's going to.
I hope that it does that does become the case. That's my big kind of.
That would get rid of the one bugbear you have.
That's the only bugbear that I particularly, other than the fact that I do like a bigger, chunkier controller. That's the only real bugbear that I have with the console. That's it. That really is just it. I don't have any other qualms with it whatsoever. I don't really have that many qualms with the Xbox because, quite frankly, none of it really bothers me that much. But, oh, no, actually, tell a lie. You're likely to have a dashboard that's just going to be one big advert on the Xbox.
The PSN Plus, or rather the PlayStation Network only has adverts for games.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable.
Well, and maybe movies because they offer a movie service, but not for Coca-Cola and BS like that.
There was an awful lot of that this year as well, or like Netflix and Flickster and...
Oh, that reminds me. CR showed me a thing that I thought he was taking. I thought it wasn't real. I thought it was like someone doing a take piss. There's going to be a Doritos and Mountain Dew X-Bone edition. It's a real thing, and there's going to be special packaging for both those products with the X-Bone all black green logo.
What the fuck?
CR, if you have that picture still, can you please link it in the chat?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's
So to go back to the Sony conference, they ended on Bungie and Activision's Destiny, which looked Borderlands mixed with Halo is how I came away thinking about it.
It's it's one of those things that's kind of on the edge of the radar again. I guess. It's that sort of thing that you've had your interest piqued slightly, but you're
now that I saw proper in-game co-op gameplay, I'm kind kind yes, because Bungie does good co-op.
They do.
I don't agree with their storylines, but I agree with the way they make games.
That can easily be remedied. You just mute the game and make your own story.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's a very good idea. Imagine playing Resident Evil 6 through where you didn't have subtitles, you didn't have any dialogue. You could just make up what was going on.
Good Rory agrees that Destiny looked pretty good. It's due in 2014, unfortunately, so it's not going to be out at launch.
We're busting into this police station to steal all these drugs and have a fantastic party. Oh shit, these guys got the drugs already, right? We're going to have to kill them all and steal the drugs.
They're not zombies, they're just stoned.
That guy's pulled all his skin off and is crawling around on the ceiling. These are really good drugs. Anyway, let's...
So we never mentioned that we're going to go by UK prices here because I didn't write down everyone else, but Xbone is launching at £449. PS4 is £349. A massive difference of £100.
Now, it was the other way around for the last generation.
Yes, it was, and that's why Microsoft won it.
So that should be interesting. I mean, part of me wonders whether or not it's because Sony are already using some of the tech, like, say, the Blu-ray drive, for example. That's already something that they're used to dealing with.
Are Microsoft having to pay like a license fee for having Blu-ray and Xbone, do you think?
I don't know how that works. I really don't, because Blu-ray itself is a copyright. It's a it's
a copyrighted concept.
So I don't know how it works.
So in American prices, the PS4 is also $100 cheaper. They must be selling that at a loss.
It's a big deal.
It must be a loss. They're doing it at a very smart time.
It's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
£100 is a lot of money.
In terms of like actual cost of the consoles, like taking out the competition element, they've not jumped up significantly and they've not dropped down significantly from what we're kind of used to. I mean, I'm pretty certain I paid about £400 for launch Xbox 360. So
they were saying and doing all the right things at that conference. I wrote down the quote. They said they were interested in true consumer ownership and true consumer trust, because they're still working off the backlash of when the PSN went down and they had to regain their trust. So they were being very humble.
We give them a lot of shit for that.
Yeah,
remember we give them a lot of shit, and but then in return they did give us some games.
Yeah, they gave us games and they apologized at E3. They, rather than dodge the elephant in the room like Microsoft did with the Xbone this year, went back then, the very first thing Trenton said when he came on stage was, "We're sorry, it was our fault, never do it again."
We did something stupid. At least the hope is there that from learning that lesson, they're not likely to do it again.
Yeah,
we know they've already gone through it.
That's the other thing about PS4. If you buy a game, as in not a digital game, a hard copy, you're owning that game. Yeah. It's not licensed, you own it. And that's good.
It's a big deal.
The best quote to come out of E3 was from Miyamoto during the Nintendo thing, which I didn't watch, so we're not going to talk about it. But he had a really good opinion. He was asked what his opinion was on used games. He said he didn't care about them. He said he was worried about piracy, because used games aren't a problem. If you concentrate on making a game so good, people will want to give it away.
There you go. That's the solution.
That is the right way to think.
So
now
good.
Stop making Mario games.
Make a game so good games, you wouldn't possibly want to sell it on.
If every game was as good as Alan Wake or Bioshock Infinite, I would never sell them.
Do you still have Alan Wake?
I do. I still have Alan Bioshock. Bioshock Infinite was a bad example.
I still have Bioshock, the first one. I still have Bioshock.
I still have Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. I have... What else have I got?
Well, I never actually bought a Nintendo. I still have access to somebody who still has GoldenEye. Because there's no way you can get rid of something like that. Even if you don't play it on a regular basis, you cannot give up access to something like that.
I just really like that way of thinking. That I wish all of them did that. But
that's a nice note to end on. I think that's quite a high.
Yes, I think so. I think we're
going to
we're ending on a positive note from someone only associated with Nintendo.
Fantastic.
The world may be ending.
So I suppose to sort of summarize, it's kind of clear that the direction for the podcast going forward is that we will end up becoming PC and PS4 centric. That's not to say that somewhere along the line that the Xbox doesn't appear in our living rooms. Probably not.
But games that are on it will be playing on other things.
We may end up with that. But I guess the general consensus is that the PS4 has won the battle. Obviously, we need to see what happens.
IGN held a vote of 200,000 people and only 6,000 voted for the Xbone.
It remains to be seen in practice how both of them actually fare.
Well, as I predicted, the Xbone is already at number 1 in the Amazon seller list. PS4 is also as well, but the Xbone ones are not real. So they are PR reputation management. That's what it was, wasn't it?
I suppose it should be interesting to see what happens this time next year. When we've had 6 months of the console to digest and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. The Xbone is launching in November. but PS4 is just the end of the year. There's no specific date yet.
I wonder whether they'll just do a smash and grab and drop it like a week before the Xbox launch. Or no, better.
That would just be like
no,
kicking them in the shins.
I think I don't know. I don't know if that's a better idea. No, that is the better idea. Is the week before is the better idea because they're cheaper. Because even if you did it a week afterwards, people might have already shelled out on that cash
they could
for
be
Xbox.
Totally ballsy, same day. That would be amazing. They'd have to be so ballsy.
Could you imagine the carnage in stores? Because these places pack with people to go and buy a new console. You imagine if you've got people like that aren't necessarily going to go and buy 2 consoles, right? So they would normally go in to buy the Xbox, and the PS4 is there also.
What would be fantastic is if Sony announced that, and then people like GameStop who really get pissed off when they lose sales, so like Xbox is killing used games, they just refuse to stock Xbone and only do PS4. Sadly, that won't happen, but it would be very funny if stuff like that.
That was one of the things, like, you know, we're sort of blathering on a bit here. But
hello, Slimaz. Entered here after we finished, unfortunately.
One of the things that I did mention in our conversations about, you know, the next gen was whether or not these places like, as you say, GameStop, places that do deal in a lot of used games, would then, you know, stop selling Xboxes purely on the basis that they won't get the return on the back of it. But the actual sales of the games themselves would more make up for that fact. It's just a little extra cash on the side they're not going to get.
I expected GameStop to refuse to sell it, but they are actually accepting pre-orders.
There's too much money to be made,
I guess,
selling off the actual original games.
So have we actually finished recording now? Is this us in our post-show?
I guess so. I shall. I'm still sitting on the stairs.
Oh. You can leave it recording and just edit out later, but it makes the file bigger.
Yeah. Ooh, my legs have gone to sleep.